Good morning. Hi, Bib. Hi, baby. Oh, goodness. Just sharing this around. Good deal. Got this all shared around. Yay. All right. Let's see. All right. Just making sure this is everywhere. So, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday from North Kakalaki. It's a little windy, but it's sunshine and gorgeous. It is. So I have shared this around in all my groups. I do this every Tuesday. So if you're new here, welcome. We've been doing this almost 2 years now, where we just take a devotion of my choice and we just kind of share it and try to apply it to our lives as we're drinking our coffee or our tea or hey, I'm not going to judge you even if you got a shot of vodka in there. That's just not who I am. So here we are. Here we are. So say hello if you are on here watching and know that um, sometimes when you find lives, you don't even know if there's something in it for you. That's the truth. You don't know. You don't know what in the world is somebody going to say that is going to maybe affect your life or sometimes hit you right between the eyes. And most of the time, it's hit me in between the eyes long before I share it with you. So that's what we're going to do today. So I hope you're having a great Tuesday morning. And if not, no worries. Just because the morning wasn't good doesn't mean the afternoon and the evening can't be better. So I am hoping that you will walk away from this and that you know what? That you'll be able to take something with you. You'll be able to say, "Man, I needed that." You'll be able to say, "You know what? Life is a little sweeter when you have Jesus in it." Just my opinion, but I believe it is. And I love, now again, we have been working out of, if you all remember, the Lisa Turkhurst. We've been through one of her devotionals. This one has been exceptionally wonderful for me um, because it talks about seeing beautiful again. When things happen in your life, and they're going to, that maybe have not left you in a great place, that you can see the positive from a negative. Hi, Gwenda. Good to see you. Hey, Sue Ann. Oh, so good that you are feeling better. Love to hear that. That's awesome. Hi, Charlene. Good to see you too. Um, so, I mean, just bring it in and know that through losses in your life, through things that have happened, maybe a loss of a job, maybe a bad relationship with a kid, maybe you're going through a divorce, maybe, you know what, somebody has hurt you, and maybe that person who hurt you is somebody who professes to know Jesus. Sometimes Christians are the absolute worst at setting a good example. I get it. Sometimes I am the absolute worst at setting a good example. I am. I get it. It's why I think a lot of people like to follow me, is because I just kind of put it out there. But I don't put it out there to call out everybody else. Most of the time I put it out there because of what I've learned. And then, you know what, sharing that, you kind of feel like you're not alone. You're not alone in any of this. Life is hard. And in 2024, I'm here to tell you, it hasn't gotten any easier than it was in 2023. Um, but I have to believe that God has a plan in all of this if we allow Him to work through it. Now, look, you can push away from it like I do at times. You just know what God wants for you in your life, or you feel Him pushing you, but are you ever the person who just says, you know what, could we just go over here and do this? Could we just move over here and maybe, God, could we take mile marker, that exit 52? Could we take that? I know you probably want me to press on to 58, but I'm thinking, God, if you see it my way, well, let me tell you something about God. God says you can get off any mile marker you want to. God says you can take any path you want to, and He's not going to quit walking with you. But what's really funny is when you just take the path that seems like it would be easier. When you do that, easier is not always better. I have found out that the biggest learning periods in my life has been the things where it's not easy. It's not easy. It can be the things where people judge you the most, right? It can be the things where you're looking for mad support. You're looking for somebody to tell you it's going to be okay. But I got to tell you, you're not always going to hear that. You're not always going to hear that. And a lot of times, even if you are on the right path, you are not going to hear that. But see, this is where this whole wanting everybody to just love you, that feeling of, oh, everybody loves me. Let me tell you something. What I have learned in now almost 61 years, if I'm sitting in a place in my life where everybody loves me, I need to take a step back and I need to reevaluate what I'm doing. That is the truth. I need to take the step back. Hi, Natalie. Good to see you. Because I know that sometimes the right path is not always the most popular path. Yeah, I'm sure many of you have heard narrow is the way to God, right? But wide is the path to destruction. Whoo, boy, that has been my life, and probably the last 8 to 12 months I have felt that like it's so much easier to go down the big path that, by the way, I see everybody going down, but God had a different plan, right? But it's hard because when you don't feel the love, when you don't feel the support, even when people don't understand it, you know, you're going to find out who really is in your corner with God. You're going to find out. And when you do, sometimes that can be scary. I get it. People that you thought loved you, maybe they don't. Maybe not as much. But I've also figured out that sometimes when it's not a popular decision, sometimes people who may love you, they may be loving you in private because they're scared to say that they love you in public. I believe Jesus went through that, especially days before, just celebrating Easter, days before they turned on him and decided, hey, Rosie, good to see you. And they decided to turn on him, and they decided to um, nail him to a cross and whip him and chanted him and throw hate at him. And yet he knew what his path was. He knew where he was going. He knew why he was doing it. And even though he asked his father to let that cup, let that action pass from him, he was still willing to march forward to what he knew, what his plan was, and what he was supposed to do, which was to die for all of us. Um, so sometimes life is kind of similar to that, right? So this finding beautiful again, when you just feel like everything's a mess, this devotional with Liza has been really, really good. And I thought the first one was good. The first one got me through the surgery and my doubts and why me, God, and why can't things be easier, and why can't things be okay, and why can't things be smooth, and why me, when actually my question should have been, why not me? What makes me so special that I should never be dealt anything that isn't kind, that is scary. There is always something in life, but even through the worst of it, there is beautiful again. There is. So we're on the ninth chapter of this, and these are, like I said, not real big devotionals, but this one was really good, and of course I wanted to share this with you. So rather you're watching me live, or rather you are catching this on replay, what I'm going to say is, number one, thanks for joining, and thanks for taking a few minutes of your day, and I hope that this helps you in the end, because you don't have to know a lot of Bible to understand exactly what she says here. And if you've lived a lot of life and it hasn't always been so kind to you, I need you to know this one's for you. This one's for you. So let's get into it, okay? Um, this one is titled, "Is It Really That Big of a Deal If I Stay Offended?" I mean, have you ever been that person? Have you ever been offended by somebody's actions? Have you ever been offended by somebody's speech? Have you ever been offended by the way people talk behind your back? Have you ever been offended by an action that somebody's taken against you? Is it really a big deal to stay offended? Well, this is based on actually two verses in Genesis 37, 17, and 18. If any of you know the story, I know this from Sunday school, of course, but you all remember Joseph, and how Joseph was the fave, right? And how his brothers were very jealous of him. Yeah. Well, this is what this is based off. And the verses say, Joseph went after his brothers and found them near Dothan, but they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. Mm. This was a story that I remember every time I heard it as a kid, as a teenager, even if it was in a church service, that it always astounded me that Joseph's own brothers couldn't stand him. They let jealousy get in the way. They let anger get in the way. They let resentment get in the way. Um, and this was their blood, right? It was their brother, and they were plotting to kill him. I mean, I'm like, look, I've been mad at family. I can't say I've ever plotted to kill him, but I know people do, because I watch 48 Hours, okay? I watch 2020. I watch those things, and it always amazes me that I'm like, really? They did that to their family? Like, they couldn't stop before. What is wrong with people? I don't know, but obviously this goes all the way back to Bible days. This is what Liza says. Today there will be a moment. No one will snap a picture of it. It probably won't make it into the pages of those who journal or linger in the thoughts we carry with us to sleep tonight. It will come, it will go. It will slip by seemingly unnoticed, but its effects won't slip. They'll stay. And if fostered, they will grow to epic proportions. This is the moment when something creeps into our heart and pulls our focus from right to wrong. It will be just a hint of distortion, the smallest amount, but a slight and seemingly insignificant amount of skewed thought will take root. Many of you who have followed me through the years on social media, you have heard me say many, many, many times, I know you feel sorrow. I know you feel sadness. I know you're angry. I know that you feel resentful. I know that you feel betrayed. I know that you feel all these things. And you know what? It's okay to feel them, but you've heard me say, just don't unpack there. Don't unpack there. You have a suitcase full of all these things that are not going to bring you anything good. That suitcase can just be sat down, or you can unpack it. And when you unpack it and you start to live there, it can become a problem and grow beyond what we can even imagine. Which brings us to one of my favorite stories in the Bible. The one where Moses goes to Pharaoh and sings that song, "Oh, Pharaoh, Pharaoh, whoa, whoa, gotta let my people go." Totally a loose translation. But if you've ever attended vacation Bible school as a child, you probably know what I'm talking about. There's an astounding chain of events that led up to God having to deliver his people from Pharaoh's fierce grip that I want us to trace and consider. I know we were talking about Joseph, right? But this is going back further. Listen, it starts with this question. Why was the entire nation of Israelites, all God's people, right? Israelites, God's people, all 12 tribes enslaved in Egypt? Why? As I trace this story backward, I find it's because of one seemingly insignificant moment. Hey, Jess, good to see you, sweet girl. The course of history was changed because some siblings got offended and allowed that offense to grow into bitterness towards their brother Joseph. Envy and anger slipped in, which gave way to hatred. See, look at this now. We talk about, I know you're feeling this way. It's okay. Don't unpack there. Because see, if you're feeling a little resentment, if you're feeling a little bitter, if you're feeling, hey Michelle, if you're feeling a little bit of envy, if you're feeling a little bit of jealousy, all of these things can be very, very normal. But if you unpack in all of that negativity, it will give way to something much stronger like hatred. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, Molly, you don't understand. I don't hate that person. I just wouldn't care if they jumped off a cliff. That sounds like to me that kind of led to something bigger than just, I'm a little pissed off at them right now, right? Like, they could just, if they got hit by a bus, it's all right. Oh, think about this. When you let yourself unpack in what has happened to you, it can lead to things that are so much worse. So let's move on. Envy and anger slipped in, which gave way to hatred, and eventually a full force, murderous fury propelled them to do the unthinkable. Here we are, back in Bible days. We have our own 48 hours right here, right in front of us. 2020 coming in. Here we go. Yes, something that started that probably wasn't that big. It was just, all right, so, mom and dad seem to, they show favoritism. They seem to act like they love him more. Whatever it is, he's always the one. He is the favorite student. He is the one who does it all right, right? Well, they had their own, because what happened is they let these feelings, these emotions, get the best of them. That's what happened. That's what happened. So it propelled them to do the unthinkable. There's never just a little bit of bitterness, a little bit of hatred, a little bit of holding on to an offense, especially when we find ourselves already feeling vulnerable in a really hard season. Our key verses, Genesis 37:17-18, reveal the moment of seeds of jealousy and offense blooming into hatred and eventually into a full-blown plan to kill their brother Joseph. Lee says, I ain't gonna lie, there are a few people that if they got hit by a bus, I would feel bad for the bus. Bib is who I was talking about, okay? I knew he would know exactly where that example came from. He'll say that sometimes and I'll go, you need some Jesus, Bib. You need some Jesus. You should not be thinking that way. I pray for him every day. And that attitude of his, can I just say, Jesus, take the whole car, the whole car. Okay, let's move on. Joseph was thrown into a pit. And instead of killing him, they decided to sell him as a slave. After years of heartbreak and confusion passed, Joseph stayed close to God, even though life was hard and God's favor was on him. Joseph continued through a long journey of many ups and downs, and eventually he unexpectedly landed in a position of great power in Egypt. Because of his position, when a famine hit the land, Joseph was in charge of the food supply. Later, the famine caused Joseph's brothers to travel to Egypt looking for food. Joseph had a choice to make: to force the brothers to pay for what they had done to him, or forgive them. He chose forgiveness, and later all 11 brothers and their families moved to Egypt. Joseph and his brothers make up what becomes the 12 tribes of Israel. As these tribes multiplied, they became the nation of Israel. When what the brothers meant for evil, God meant for good. He was able to use that. You know, you hear me say it numerous times. People will say, I don't understand, Molly. Why did this happen? You know, why did Lee's dad die? Why didn't he get more? Why, Molly, I don't understand. Your mom was taken when you were 16 years old. Molly, I don't understand. This person was taken in a car accident. This happened. Were homes devastated by tornadoes? I can't tell you why, but what I can tell you is that God has the ability to take anything bad that happens, not because he created that bad happening, but he can use it for good. You've heard me say many times that I didn't understand when I was going through the loss and my anger with God and not wanting anything to do with him because my mom had died and my family imploded. That I didn't understand how could that happen to somebody who loved the Lord the way that she did. But I have also told you that without that part of my story, without having to walk that journey of all the anger and the hatred and the not wanting to get close to anybody in life and not caring what happened, just surviving. Hi, Carolyn. That because of that, God was molding me into something bigger to be able to share these stories with you. I bet he was pretty sad too that my mom was smitten with cancer, but what he said was, I'm not going to give up on Molly. I am going to show Molly how she can use her story in all the ups and downs. And no, the ups and downs didn't stop at just my mom dying. Didn't stop with the fact that my dad drank a whole lot in the early days. Didn't stop with the fact that I got married and, had a baby, out of wedlock, that kind of thing. Didn't stop all that, right? Didn't stop any of that. Life kept happening and challenges kept happening, and every challenge that happened, I had the choice to survive it and get stronger or unpack in the moment of what I was feeling, whether that be fear or anger. I want to be the person that tells you that the closer you get to God, that the less that's going to happen. I'm here to tell you that's not true either. You know me, I'm going to be completely honest. There are new valleys. There's new quicksand. They come up every single day. Not every single day. Every now and then, they get some clarity. But it's what I decide to do with it. Now at almost 61, I find that the majority of my time I'm saying, uh, God, I don't know what you're going to do to use this, but I'm here. I'm waiting for it. My journey recently has been that journey. The journey that Molly still has it in her heart that she just wants to be loved by everybody. But also, God reminded me that if you're loved by everybody, sister, you better take a look at your path again. Because there is always going to be people who are going to get on that path and try to sidetrack you or try to take advantage of who they know you are and how you will react, hoping to whip you back into the place that they want you. But that's not what God wants. Oh, Julie. Hey, Julie. Asking prayers for my granddaughter, Skylar. Age 9. She has pneumonia. Ah, Julie, absolutely. Everybody, if you're not watching the comments, please, pray for Julie for sure and her granddaughter, Skylar. Gwenda also put on here, I need prayers for my husband, Jim. He's been having heartburn for more than a month. He went to see a gastrologist last Tuesday. The reason he had that problem is because his stomach had dropped. Okay. He had a hernia repair. Will be 2 years this August. He will need surgery to pull 5 holes with a scope and stitch them up. Whoa, that's a lot, Gwenda. Oh my goodness. But you know what? I know he's going to get through it. I know he is. And he's got you, girl. God has given him just the best of the best to help get him through that. So I believe he's going to come through that just wonderfully. So absolutely, everybody, please just pray for each other. Hi, Jan. I see Jan there. Lee says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Doesn't mean the weapons won't hit you. It just means in the grand scheme of things, if you are a child of God, you win in the long term. Yep. You just got to give him time. Isn't that true? Isn't that true? Oh my goodness. Didn't God say it? Carol, good morning, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Just got off Google Video with my primary care physician, starting my first in-home PT this Friday. Onward, sister, no matter what. Carol, people have been praying for you that, let me tell you, girl, you probably don't know them. You don't know their name. And you have been through so much. But God's not done with you yet. And you, my sister, are a pure miracle handed down to us from God with what you have been through and you fighting with that onward spirit. Man, I'm like, I want to like live and fight like Carol. I have just massive respect for you not giving in and quitting on this journey. So, way to go, sister. Way to go. Love that. Okay, let me get through this. Okay, hold on. Okay, so we talked about, because of Joseph and his brothers, these tribes multiplied, they became the nation of Israel. What the brothers meant for evil, God used for good. He saved the Israelites from the famine. But there were still lasting effects of the brothers' choices that played out years later. After Joseph died, and this is taken from Exodus 1, 8 through 10, a new king, to whom Joseph meant nothing, came to power in Egypt. Look, he said to his people, the Israelites have become far too numerous for us. Come, we must deal shrewdly with them, or they will become even more numerous, and if war breaks out, they will join our enemies, fight against us, and leave the country. So they put slave masters over them to oppress them with forced labor, and they built Pithom and Ramesses as store cities for Pharaoh. So the entire nation of Israel suffered oppression and slavery for centuries. Why? Because a few brothers on an ordinary day got offended and jealous and allowed anger and revenge to slip in. And in the moment these emotions were allowed to run rampant, the course of history changed. In a moment. May we never assume our moments don't matter. The decisions we make every second of every day matter. Hey, Cindy, good to see you. Rose says, sometimes those people you speak of, people who come to you to bring you down, people sent by the devil, the stronger you get, the more times the devil will come to grab you. Keep onward, moving forward. Yes, Rosie. I know. My head knows it, Rosie. Sometimes my heart stops me for a moment. But I get back to the journey of onward no matter what. So thank you for recognizing that. That means a lot. May we never assume, here we go, that our moments don't matter. The decisions we make every second of every day matter. There are no little moments. There are no little sins. There's a domino effect to it all. So I fall hard upon soft grace. I thank God for this realization. I ask Him to make my soul even more sensitive, more aware, more in tune to the constant need of forgiveness. That sometimes what people do you know sometimes their actions are solely about fear? That sometimes when people say they don't like me, or maybe they don't like me anymore, or they don't like me in this moment, or they're talking smack, or they're doing whatever, or they feel I've disappointed them, or whatever that looks like, do you realize that sometimes that just is fear? And what happens is they're unpacking the fear. And what happens is they don't want to see anything different. And what happens is they have to stick with what they think, because to even think what I'm thinking will just upset their apple cart completely. I can't control what others do, but I can control how I respond to it. That's key. So I fall hard upon soft grace. I thank God for this realization. I ask Him to make my soul even more sensitive, more aware, more in tune to my constant need for forgiveness. Though I'm weak, I walk in the strength of utter dependence. And I refuse to beat myself up for mistakes made yesterday. Today is a new day, a new chance to set things going in a different direction. Joseph's brothers had years to try and rescue Joseph. Think about this now. Think about this, okay? They were going to kill him. They were going to kill him dead. That was the plan. Their own brother. But what happened? Okay, they put him in a pit and then they sold him. They sold him to slavery. But you know what? In all those years, the brothers had years to try and make that right. They had years to try and rescue Joseph, find out where he was, help him, set their past mistakes right. Years. They had years. But they never did set out to turn things around. Oh, people. We can't let today slip by. Moments matter. Let's watch for any moment today when we have the chance to let anger, envy, or something else negative get into our hearts and dictate how we act and react. Hey, Quentin, don't look at me and be angry at my path, at my journey. Have you ever thought, you know what? I'm just going to love her through it. Just going to love somebody through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you realize you're going to make more of a difference in somebody's life, even if you don't understand their journey, if you don't understand the exit ramp they took, if you don't understand their their life decisions, if you don't get it and it doesn't seem okay with you, do you realize that it speaks more about you to love them through it? Do you realize that? Don't let anger, envy, or something else negative get into your hearts and dictate how you're going to act or react. Let's be aware of our feelings so they can drive us towards God, not into the enemy's trap. Our feelings are indicators, y'all. Indicators that there is a problem to attend to. But they should never dictate how we act and react. A prayer that she puts in here that we should be praying in these situations is, Dear Lord, you made me. You know me. I need your help where I am weak. Help me see today that even the smallest moments really do matter. Make me aware of any place where I'm off course in any area of my life. And give me the courage and the grace to do what pleases you. I want to do your will, God. And sometimes that's more easily said, right? More easily said than done. I get it. But you can't go back. You can't go back and change what you did yesterday. But you can move forward and you can do better. You can do better. You can make a wrong right. You can go to that person and you can say, man, I'm sorry. I got caught up. I didn't understand. I didn't understand what's going on. I just, but what I need you to know is I love you through it all. You don't even have to agree with the person. Again, remember me saying, love God with all your heart and love people, especially the ones that at this point you might find it hard to love. That has been sometimes the hardest part of my journey and sometimes the easiest part of my journey. To simply say, I love them anyways. They annoy me to no end. I don't get it. I don't understand. But the ones that are easy to love, that's not where the challenge is. That's not where the growth is. The growth is in loving people through their bad actions. The person who's locked you out of their life, and you have tried everything in your being to say, why? I don't understand. What have I done so bad that would make you cast me out of your life? I realize that my job isn't to figure that out. My job is to love people through it. That they have to figure out their feelings and, their bad actions and their bad words and whatever that looks like for them. My job is to move onward and do better and to stand up for what's right. Rosie, you're so funny. Pray the bus gets a flat. Yes, sister, yes. Here comes the bus. Oh no, I want to take it back. Flat tire. I hear you. I hear you. So if you're just joining me and you don't get that, you're going to have to go back about 15 minutes ago and watch the conversation. That was good, Rosie. I love that. So yeah. Like I said, Joseph's brothers, they had opportunities to make things right. They didn't. Oh, we'll just let it go. But you know what? Look, you know what gets me? It's not the fact that the brothers didn't go make it right. Do you know what gets me? That Joseph, no matter what was done to him, Joseph practiced love no matter what. He could have made life hard for them. He could have had them thrown in prison. He could have said, get out of here. I don't care how hungry you are. Go. After what you did to me, you wanted to kill me. You threw me in a pit. You beat me up. You sold me into slavery. I am your brother. What in the world is wrong with you? And he could have held on and held on and held on and unpacked there and unpacked there. And he didn't. He said, what would God want me to do? And he opened up the doors and gave them the food and eventually brought them to Egypt with him and showered them with everything God had blessed him with because he chose not to unpack in the hate, not to unpack in why did my brothers do this to me, not to unpack in the bad words, not to unpack in mistruths, not to unpack there. He said, these are my brothers, and no matter what their actions were, no matter what they said about me, how much they hated me, how jealous they were, no matter what all that is, he decided to rise above and love them through it. Mm, that right there. And by the way, that's no easy feat. No matter what anybody says, I would love to tell you taking a Joseph action right there will be easy. But it's not, because what do you want to do? You want to just tell everybody how bad they are. And my deal is that doesn't help anybody. And it definitely doesn't help you walk away from those feelings in the moment that you had them. Morning, Nancy. In the morning, in the moment that you have that feeling, that negativeness, no matter what it is, it's okay. It's okay to have it. It's not okay to stay there because it will fester and it will turn into something bigger and it will bring even more negativity to you. If you are in the place that you feel you need to be, no matter what, and you feel like God is in it, and you feel like this is where you need to be, quit worrying about everybody who doesn't think that. Quit worrying about the people who don't agree. Quit worrying about the people who want to talk and lay down the smack and all. Don't worry about them. I know it can hurt. I know you can feel betrayed. I know what all of that feels. I've been dealing with a lifetime of it. Family, friends, so-called friends, business, people who are going to be there. They're going to be there till the end, right? And they're not. Your path is your path. Let God take care of what they do with that. Stand tall and keep going and don't unpack no matter what's been done with you. Don't you unpack in misery. Don't you unpack in hate. Don't you unpack with why God, why God, why I don't understand. I'm miserable. Do not stay unpacked in misery. If you choose to stay in the path that says I'm going to be unhappy the rest of my life, can I be real with you? Like I wouldn't be, right? You're going to stay there. Not because that's where God wants you, because you chose it. Learn how to take the goodness you were given in your life, the blessings you were given, maybe for an instant with those people, maybe for a moment, maybe for a year, maybe for 10 years, maybe for your lifetime up until now. Learn how to take those good moments you had with them and hold on to them. Nurture those. But those bad moments, those narcissistic people, all of a sudden they've changed. Don't unpack there. It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. But you have to choose. Free choice. Free choice in all this. I feel this way, Molly, because this person did it, and then God did this, and now this person's not here, and you don't understand. I may not understand, but God understands. But God also understands that you have to want to do better, feel better, perform better, think better. Every good and bad thing can be used to raise you up to be stronger and maybe be there to help somebody that only you can help. But here's the deal. If you're stuck in unpacking in your misery and your envy and your hatred and your sadness, all of these things that righteously you're allowed to feel, But when you nurture it, when you grow it, when you let it become bigger than who you could be, you're going to rob yourself of the blessing of helping somebody else out who's probably been where you're at, who's getting ready to go through what you've been through. But because you're unpacked in all that misery, you're never going to have the ability to do what God has set you up to feel useful in. He can use anything bad that happens, but only if you let him. Only if you choose to help yourself and walk out of what was trying to get into your bloodstream and root there like a bad cancer. You have the choice to say, I'm not going to let that happen. I have the same choice. And if I let people rob me of that, is it their fault? Or is it my fault for allowing it? Sometimes you starting to view things differently, which then make you react differently, which then puts you in a better place, you suddenly realize there are other exits on your path. You don't have to take the closest one. You can work towards the one that there may be potholes, there may be road work, there may be things that are going to hinder you, but if you get there, it can be so rewarding. But the path to get there will a lot of times be difficult. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want God to use you? How bad do you want to know that what has happened to you that you don't understand, and you may never understand it, but it can be used to benefit somebody who walks into your life? Because that's what we're here for. We are here to share. We're not supposed to share in misery and stay there and drag other people down. You know, we're supposed to lift each other up and say, I may not understand your journey, but I'm here for it if you think that's where you need to be. I'm here for it if that's what you need. That's somebody that shows grace. That's somebody who shows love. That's somebody who understands that God could be working in a way that you don't understand, because guess what? It's not your miracle. It's not your path. It's not your journey to understand what everybody else has to do. This whole thing with thinking that people are supposed to do what everybody else is doing is absolutely ridiculous. You don't have to understand somebody's path. And if you can't be supportive in it, do yourself a favor. Walk away, or you're going to be suffering with envy and hate and discord, and you're not even going to see yourself doing it, but you're going to unpack there. And you really going to let the devil use you like that? No, I don't believe that's what you want. Not in a million years. So do better. Do better. And what you don't understand, that's okay. You don't have to. It's not your path. It's all right. Go forth and find your best path. Stop worrying about whether everybody who understands why you've done what you've done. That the fact that how can you love somebody through that, Molly? I don't understand. I don't understand how you can, that after what I know, I didn't say it was easy. I said it could be done. Because today's philosophy with, well, you know what, if you wrong me once, you'll never get the opportunity to do it again. Well, look, I'm a firm believer in that. You never set yourself up to be wronged again, for sure. But is it really wrong in you, or is it really just something you don't understand? Is it really that it's just not your path? But this is different. Everybody should be on the same path. Not necessarily. I would not want everybody in life to have lost their mom when they were 16 years old in order to understand what I understand now in my life. I would never want people, even though there are people who have, I would never want that for somebody. And maybe that's one of the things that makes my path so different. I don't know. Maybe it's what makes your path so different. But whatever you unpack with, that's where you're going to sit. So learn how to unpack with the positive. The negative, I get you're going to feel it. You're going to feel sadness. You're going to feel anger at times. You're going to feel all these things. We said this. But you need to realize that there are certain things, certain feelings that you don't unpack there. You must let it go and move on. Hey, Patty, good to see you, friend. That's what I wish for you. I wish that you would hear that everybody's journey is different. And no matter how hard it is, your journey can be used for the better. But there are some who aren't going to want to see you accomplish that because, see, they're already unpacked in the anger, and it may not have anything to do with you. They're angry, they're scared, they don't understand, they don't feel like anybody listens to them. They don't they're on but so then it skews their vision of what they see. You know what I'm saying? It skews what they see because of everything they're unpacked with over here. That's not your job to worry about what got them there. Stop taking it all so personal. It's the worst thing I've ever done. Every time I take something personally, I'm human. I do at times. But when I really get to thinking about it, I realize that, Molly, whenever somebody's not for you, most of the time, I'm on my next learning experience and something that God's going to bring me to help somebody else in their journey. And to me, after 61 years of that, almost 61, I'm all in. I'm all in. It ain't going to be easy, but I'm all in. So don't be Joseph's brothers. Be Joseph. Be Joseph. And don't stay offended. Don't stay angry. Find the love. Find the cheer. Find when you have to love them from over there, that's okay. You can do that. You ain't got to love them to their face. Sometimes that's hard because you want to throat punch them. I am here. I am here for it. Sometimes they in front of you and you just want to throat punch them. I need you to know that. I understand it and I feel it sometimes, okay? Doesn't mean that we act on it. It means I say, nope, I'm going to walk over here because I need to love you from over there. See? Completely authentic and real. That some of those little memes and stuff that I put up on my social media, it absolutely is in the moment of what I'm feeling. But you know what? God says, I'm going to take the whole car, Molly, not just the wheel. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get you back on track if you let me. Most of the time he wins, but there are those times. Yeah, those times. Don't have a lot of them. Okay, this is what I got for Tuesday. I hope this has done something to help you in your life, in your business, in your family, in your relationships, all of that. You know what? Yep, Rosie, you're right. When all else fails, slap them with the love of Jesus. I know. And a little throat punch every now and then. Just say, nope, I'm not. Don't do that. Don't do the throat punch. I just added that. It's all good. It's all good. So have a great rest of your week. Know that your week is going to be what you make it. Your path is going to be what you make it. Nobody promised easy, but you're going to get through it if you choose to. Okay? Take care. See you next week, guys.